Child, not even a week after it got out that people were able to get past Bali security and serve that man with papers. Here we are, not even 24 hours ago, it comes out that his youngest daughter, Aoki Simmons, 21 years of age, is with a man in his mid-50s. Serafina co-founder Vittorio Assad. Bitch, what is going on? I kind of live for it, but I don't know. All right, you white motherfuckers, all eyes on me. This is the I Refuse podcast. This is Miss Fox, the I Refuse podcast. I have been slowly gagging on this bit of information. I was not expecting this on my bingo card. That of all the things that have been rolling out since the Abuse Survivors Act has benefited, and rightfully so, sexual assault victims, females, at the hands of powerful men. That I predicted, just as I predicted, some cracks were going to show. And through those cracks would be other things coming out about men and women that were victims of these men were able to pursue them legally. I called it back in November, December, and I said, once this thing expires or it eventually gets renewed like it did, there's another powerful man that has been out of this country going on 8 years that is going to rear his face. And not only that, what has happened is there have been moments of distress, moments of yelling at the kids over FaceTime, really giving, oh, the walls are closing in. So here we are. A process server allegedly was able to get past the security over in Bali and serve this man with some court papers by way of a woman who we've talked about as early as 2020 after watching a documentary talking about this man, is finally able to see some justice of some kind. But that's not why we're here. So yesterday it comes out that his youngest daughter, beautiful, beautiful daughters, courtesy of his ex-wife, Kimora, who, bless her heart, has come on social media during that time, I think February or March, just crying and everything, and just really going through the paces, but not really saying much. So, youngest daughter, Aoki, 21 years of age, was spotted in an island somewhere with a man 2 or 3 years, give or take, younger than her father. an international man, could be French, could be German. Definitely an entrepreneur, probably a billionaire. And I sat back and I was like, before I get to the main question, I have like a few. Like, why is this old ass white man with this really young black girl? And what the fuck could he possibly do with a 21-year-old? The next thing that came to my mind was there is definitely in the middle of all this is the word cycles, right? So those of us that have been outside, you know, I'm coming up on 42. I know. 42 years of age, right? I was in the military when, you know, Def Simmons and Kimora Simmons were entrepreneurs, right? Baby fat was everywhere. They had the fat farm stuff. It was the thing to be in for a couple of summers. She was able to go from, talking about the mama, able to go from being known as a model, but not like Cindy Crawford or a Naomi Campbell or I see her face. You know, the chick from Top Model. You know, but they knew her, but she was able to like parlay herself into being an entrepreneur and a brand by way of Mr. Simmons. And it was cute, right? Didn't think anything of it. Baby Fat Farm came and went. Then there was some other stuff. Now, remember earlier I said cycles. The age difference between Aoki's mother and father are almost 20 years. Kimora Lee is, give or take, 6 or 7 years older than I am. Still juicy, Lucy, and young or whatever. Now, those of us that have been outside the last 6 months, you gotta follow me here. Those of us that have been outside the last 5 or 6 months, have a Twitter account, have been listening to the I Refuse podcast for a couple of years. There's a pattern, alleged pattern with the father, right? That was starting to come up in the rumor mill right around the late stage of Def Jam Records. And it was, okay, here's a guy that allegedly loves his models, loves pursuing models, loves being with models, even though this guy is old enough to be their dads. So allegedly the word on the curb was this guy and this lady, he started pursuing her allegedly when she was a middle school age. So let's say if she was born in 75, you want to say the early 90s. They get married in 98. They divorce in 2009, I think. They have 2 beautiful kids. She goes on to date old boy from Amistad for a little bit. I thought they were going to be together for a long while, but they were just partners for a couple years. They have a kid. She goes on to be with and marry some investment capital banker, German dude. They get married in 2014. I think they have a kid. He gets wrapped up into some kind of scandal. Word on the curb, allegedly, is that he was also still married to his previous wife while courting Kimora, and was even went to the extent of setting up an email account, allegedly, um, as pretending it was his wife's account, showing that he was actually divorced from her when he wasn't. But then, there was that one Malaysian scandal that he got wrapped up in and could have possibly served like 25 years, allegedly, over a scandal that was like the most profitable and most expensive scandal at that time. Talking about up to about $200 in losses. Needless to say, it's giving. I'm if you're broke or you can't afford to keep me comfortable, we won't be staying together that long. So when I saw this yesterday with the daughter that is barely senior in college age with this man that is her dad's age, I deduced two things. One, a cycle. Because, this, when we look at the context of the mama and the daddy and the mama's patterns, allegedly. Why did I sound like a young Van Zandt? It's like the fruit isn't too far from the tree. Cycles. Secondly, the other thing is with the breadwinner on the lam, allegedly, from the government, having sold allegedly his half of Def Jam years ago, meaning he has no ties to it. It's technically not his anymore. I believe it was sold to Polygram. And you don't have money coming in like you used to. And, the mother is not working. I could go as far as to say that this is probably a way for the family to have a new financial source. I don't know. Like, this is very much giving Kardashian energy, right? That's the second thing. The third thing is, could this daughter could be anywhere else in the world. Could be in fashion school, could be over in Italy doing her thing. But she's with a 55-year-old. And not just like any 55-year-old. Because trust and believe, a 55-year-old that is the co-founder of Serafina and has other ventures, is from another country, comes off way better than a 55-year-old that works at Home Depot. I'm just stating facts. And when you are a Nepo baby of sorts, your 21 years of life have been at a certain level for so long that you've come to demand or expect to be kept within that lifestyle. And let's just say, all those years that Mama was with the German guy who got wrapped up in some embezzling scandal allegedly, that she didn't learn things. She didn't learn anything, right? She learned probably a great deal, that at some point once she turned 18, let's just say, Mama and whoever was taking her to parties, was taking her to social events, socialite stuff. And most of these gatherings are people, her mom's, well, that's generous, older than her mom, around her dad's age. And you are being conditioned, whether she knows it or not, to, I guess, pursue some kind of means to maintain the lifestyle that you've been a part of your whole life. So we're down to the last couple of questions, the main event. What the fuck? And y'all come in closer. Come in closer. I'm talking to y'all. What the fuck does a 56-year-old white man, 56-year-old person want with a 21-year-old? And I was just like y'all. I sat back and I was like, to be at this point at her age, to where she is comfortable enough with this man to go on a trip with him, another country, be seen in public, be seen in public with this man, allow him to take pictures, and kiss this man? Now, it could be something that's like non-committal, non-monogamous. I'm going to do my Carisha Please bit. I'm going to live my Lil' Kim life. And I'm not putting out. Now, I'm cute. I look good in dresses. I'm juicy, loosey-goosey. This is nothing serious. Hey, I'm all about get your coin. Put yourself in a position to be taken care of, because you don't get that time back. And you don't have to work. You can just be on this man's arm and be cute, right? But where I'm going with what I was saying earlier is, if this was some kind of dating situation, right? There is a good, considerable amount of time. I was 21 once. You were 21 once. There's not a lot you would do with folks. And on top of that, let them do with you or to you if they were your parents' age and you were in your early 20s. So I'm thinking, like, this had to be a couple years in the making. So then you're looking at the parents like there are certain variables that when it comes to an age difference this great, or an age difference similar to being that great between a male and a female, that on a range is like really really cringy, not as cringy. Okay, this is not that bad. Can't really argue it. I mean, it's just it is what it is. 21 and 55. Just those two ways, you're like, what the fuck? But then you think about it, you're like, she is not technically a woman yet. You know what I mean? Like, she hasn't lived on her own that long, if she has. Um, that where you're coming from, there's already kind of like a pattern with your mom. Sure, she's a sweet lady and stuff, but think about it. Model a little bit, did the entrepreneur thing a little bit. You know, a lot of us that have been outside are like, you know, this could be a cover for, you know, when the courting started. And it's just like, she's not a woman yet. This 21-year-old, not a doesn't run a company, not in charge. Um, it's very much giving. It I could be like y'all, but it's like this is kind of Epstein adjacent. This is kind of Epstein adjacent. And you know, this isn't the first May December kind of thing. You know, this is kind of common with guys as they get older. They tend to look at younger girls, and a lot of us are like, there's only one thing that comes from this, one big red flag, and that's like this guy is looking for a woman to control, manipulate. And that's still true in a lot of cases, like that we still think that. Even after they've gotten married, they've had kids, she's now in her 40s, he's pushing mid 55s. But that's like a 12 to 15-year age difference. And both artists in their own right, both entrepreneurs, both in charge of their careers. But it's at the back of your mind, you're like, the only man you've known most of your life outside of your father is your husband. And it's like, damn. You think about the long game when you're looking at this 21-year-old and this 53-year-old. It's like, it could be just for the money. It could be for, you know, the potential to be set up comfortably to do other things. Similarly to the way, you know, your mom allegedly came up with that man. And it's like, on the one hand, you're for it because it's like, hey, get your coin while the earth is melting. Get your coin. Um, Leave the money on the nightstand. You know, set me up for the next trip. But then it's like, dang, don't you want to like do something first? Don't you want to like have your own first? Is this here on this beach over there, 21 and 53, 55? No. Ew. It is, we are barely a week into April. Well, we're going to the second week. And I'm ready to return 2024. What? I don't know if this will go further. I'm just saying, I don't know if this will go further, but I'm gonna need somebody to kind of pull up on these two and come at this guy's face like, what the fuck do you want with a 21-year-old? Why? And it better not be some, oh, she's my soulmate. She's my everything. And look, I'm part of a community where an age gap that broad is common. I remember I went to like a pool party or something years ago. This was like 2004, 2005. And there was a man around that age with a kid in barely of drinking age. And this man had the nerve to say out the side of his face during the course of this evening, oh, he's my soulmate. I'm like, so you have a soul of a 21-year-old Asian kid? Middle-aged white man, what are you doing? What's going on here? And I'm not all the way on the bandwagon with some of the Twitter folk that look at an age gap thing and instantly think child molest or anything, because once you hit age 18 and you're over the age of 18, you're not a child. Aoki is 21 years old. That's why I draw the line. Like, I would never say some shit like that because that's not what's happening. Um, it's just, damn. You're just now, like, living your life. And this is what we're doing. And it could possibly be a Hollywood thing. Like I said, like, there is something to be said about mothers at the helm of a household of daughters. And how amongst these women there are similarities and parallels. Look at the Kardashians. That's like the biggest example in the room. The middle daughter dates, marries, has kids by black guys. The daughter after her does the same thing. The oldest daughter doesn't, which was interesting. But, the mom is with a black guy. So you see a bit of a pattern, right? But you also see that behind the scenes, she's working her ass off to set her daughters up to be this brand. I don't know what kind of, if that's the case with this 21-year-old and this 53-year-old man. And while I can still say that, yes, get your money, get what you need, you deserve to be comfortable, live, live your fun life and everything. I could also have this thought of what's the long game, you know what I mean? Is this a deja vu kind of thing. Is Kimora Lee allegedly working behind the scenes to find other means to maintain a lifestyle that she herself was brought into or she built using coochie coupons? It's a lot of questions. Which makes this all the more interesting. And could answer what does a 21-year-old want with a 53, 54, 55-year-old man? And not one that works at Home Depot. But baby, she got the co-founder of Serafina, which I believe is the water company, right? Serafina. And he's not from the United States. He is, I think, German or something. So definitely I would say he's definitely like a gruff, pre-Cold War. Steel probably comes out of his mouth when he breathes. Like masculine, blue collar man. No, things that some folks would love to have. So I'm looking at it both sides, right? It's not looking good for this 54, 53-year-old man to be with a 21-year-old. Like it's very much giving. What's that guy that was on Epstein's list? Prince Andrew. It's very much giving that. You mean to tell me, out of all the women, like when you're a billionaire and you're an entrepreneur, you could have, like, meat curtains are literally falling off the sky. Meat curtains are literally falling off the sky the moment you wake up. You don't even have to be attractive. You don't have to look like a model. As long as you dress nice, smell nice, and you have a couple of yachts in the back, you could have any woman. So, with that being said, it leads me to believe that this dude was honing in on this 21-year-old for a while. Also kind of nasty. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's a mess on the other side too. I hope it's not a case of her mom kind of like putting her on a platter or a pedestal and just kind of like pushing the pedestal out a little bit at these parties or at these socialite events. But you have to think about it like, this isn't like a 9-to-5 suburban mom that works at AT&T or works at IBM, 40 hours, comes home, has 2 or 3 daughters, and takes care of her daughters, lives a quiet life. We're talking about somebody that allegedly was also conditioned and allegedly groomed into the lifestyle that she has been a part of since she was in middle school, allegedly. Cycles, right? So it's like, on one hand, it's like she is possibly doing what was possibly done to her. it is a hustle. Definitely a hustle. But also it's like that's probably why it's, oh, I guess, okay in her eyes. Like, cause like I said, this isn't like an IBM office lady, single mom with three kids. That's like, hell the fuck no. Why is this man that's pushing 60 talking to my daughter that is 19, 20, 21 years of age? Hell fucking no. Get the fuck away from me, away from my house, away from my daughters. Like, beat it. I don't think that's what's going on here. So part of me is side eyeing Aoki's mom. Like, I can do that and also recognize the hustle, the pattern, and the cycle. It's really it's really interesting to see. I gave y'all a lot. I gave y'all a lot. I was not expecting to unpack so much, but this is like, you look at this, and when you look at the name, the daughter's last name, a lot of memories come out. From what you've seen, um, the last 20, 25 years in pop culture, documentaries, just what you remember, and you're just like, golly, this is literally like the next generation of the same shit you've seen coming up. And it's like, who am I to even be 1,000% judgmental when I know that it's just the game? You know what I mean? And none of us out here can attest to whether or not this girl's putting out with this old ass man. Because like I said, a 30-year age difference is a big fucking deal. Is a big fucking deal. You are at least 2 generations apart. Like, what the fuck would she know about Nixon? And what the fuck would you know about K-pop? What the fuck would she know about Ronald Reagan? And what the fuck would you know about Ariana Grande? What the fuck would she know about Bill Clinton? What the fuck would you know about Harry Styles? What the fuck would she know about Watergate? What the fuck would you know about Drake? What the fuck would she know about World War II? What the fuck would you know about Spotify? What the fuck would you know? You know what I mean? Like, 30 years. Like, what the fuck would she know about the first Mac? Apple One. And what the fuck would you know about Margot Robbie? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? You know, what like, 30-year age difference is a big fucking deal. Whether you're 21, 53, Not so much if you were like 87 and she was, she was in her 50s. Like, considerable amount of life experience, grown. You know who you are. You can't be convinced of otherwise. You've been around the world now, yeah. Your feet are grounded into the earth. You know your goals. You know you're not easily manipulated or whatever. 21, you're impressionable. Yes, you are possibly the envy of a lot of your friends back home. Some of them are probably grossed out, like, ew, like this dude is like your dad's age. And then you're like, see, this is what happens when the fathers aren't in the home. And I'm like, you probably don't want this particular father in your house. Just saying. But also, it's like, I really want her mom to start speaking. Whether it's a podcast, whether it's a memoir. Like, there's a lot of truths that could be shared from this experience and could possibly save a lot of people's lives. Like, I theorize that, like, you probably don't realize when you're that young or younger that the moment a strange older man starts coming around, whether you're at a barbecue or you're at an industry party or you're on a runway surrounded by these other adults, that you are possibly being groomed or conditioned, right? So you probably don't know it. You probably don't know the right way to court a woman or this, you've probably never seen it. But there's a right way and a wrong way. And you don't think there's anything wrong with, or you're so convinced by this person, there's nothing remotely wrong or cringy or disgusting about what is happening. And by the time you hit, I don't know, 23, most of your independent living, breadwinner for the family kind of life into adulthood has revolved around this man that you're now married to. So thus, other things from this marriage, from this association, from whatever you want to call it, you're able to use that last name or association to make a name for yourself in a greater way. And your network is getting bigger. Professionally, things are click-clacking and people are buying the clothes and stuff. So somehow you're able to like detach from that and just, this is what life is. Baby girl, at some point you gotta face that. Because this similar way of this guy being or these guys being is possibly and allegedly the case with other women. Women at his job, women in his establishment that, I guess, report to him. And they use different ways to get these women into intimate quarters under the guise of professional requests. Let's go listen to this demo in my apartment. Hollywood. So, when I think of this cycle, when I look at what's going on right now, like I can't help but think of that connection. And I surely hope it's not the case. Like I don't know much about this co-founder Serafina, but there's honestly no way to get around that 30-year age gap. I hope it's nothing serious. Like I said, look, if it's nothing serious, don't put out. You don't have to. Just use the image, the association to your benefit. Don't go the alleged route that one of the city girls is currently facing, to where you feel the need to like jump in front of it and throw us in the group chat, and by giving timestamp videos that could be edited and altered at any point on the iPhone to prove that you were not where, you know, legal documents and civil case lawsuit documents say you were as his mule. We don't want that for you. Just use the association and the image that comes with you being with the co-founder Serafina, this German man. Don't put out. If just, I'm not saying this 21-year-old girl should be a call girl. I'm just saying, like, just entertain the man. Like, even though I found it kind of weird that he's taking photos of her on the beach, you know, there's definitely, from my eyes, some Epstein adjacent kind of things I'm getting from this. Like I said, there's no way you can possibly get around the 30-year age difference. But, little girl, please be careful. Wear a chastity belt at all gatherings. And don't think this is love. Please, 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 please. If anything, like, use this to come out with a clothing line. Use this to come out with your own kind of brand and companies and stuff, without having to give up the cat. This is Mr. Fox of the I Refuse podcast. I was not expecting to be up here this long with y'all. But like I said, I unpacked a lot of stuff and gave out a little bit of context to kind of get to this point. All this is alleged. This episode was inspired by the Page 6 story that came out yesterday. And that picture, and those pictures, of this 20-year-old Aoki Simmons with this 53-year-old co-founder Serafina, Vittorio Assad. Now, before I get up out of here, I'm going to say, you know, while it's not uncommon for older men to get with younger women, you see it all the time. The difference is the woman is in all caps. And while I'm not of the similar mindset of other folks, I'd say, ugh, that's very pedo. I'm like, when you are a woman that's had a career since you were 17 years old with a very active, present father as not only your manager, but as your father, achieving and building towards something that we all know is more than iconic at this point. It's different when by the time she is 22, 23, she has cash in the industry. She is a household name. She is one of the hardest working women in the world. And she's built different. And she approaches the relationship as something serious. And we're not in that lady's joys. It's different, though. That's different than when you're 21 years old, fresh fish out of your mama's house. No pun intended. Food online with a 53-year-old man. Which is why I'm hoping she's not giving up the cat. She's just using the association to benefit her. And that's where I'm at with it. So this is Miss Fox, the I Refuse podcast. Get into the I Refuse podcast, season 5, available everywhere. Also get into the usual suspects and the I Refuse podcast After Dark. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, show love. Follow, subscribe to the I Refuse podcast YouTube channel where you are right now. And we'll be sure to keep the content coming. Until then, we will catch you guys later. Peace out. This is crazy. Thin like the bag. This is the I Refuse.